Hey, and welcome back to Antimatter Chemistry. Thanks to the last episode, we've finally managed to get some wireless energy, and with this we can finally start the pre-grind that comes before the actual grind, the pre-grind, the grind of the pre-grind, the pre-grind. So let's start by improving Pythogro, especially the flutes version of the Pythogro. Now part of this will stay almost the same. We will have a fluid transposer, which will grab the Pythogro from here and infuse some sap in order to get the enriched Pythogro. And instead of storing in a drawer, we will directly send it into the energetic infuser in order to get the flutes version of the Pythogro. In order to provide with more sap into the fluid transporter, which is our main, the main slow part of the whole process, we need to put a bunch more of phytogenic insulators and a bunch more of sawmills. In this case, I'll most likely have these 6 sawmills being fed wood from 8 of these phytogenic insulators. I don't know how I'm going to arrange this for this to look good. I think something like this will do. All of the, well, most, if not all of the automation, we will do it with Ethernet. So really space is not going to be a problem, but it is just how it looks. I don't know if this looks fine or not. But anyway, we need to give this some water. For that we will be using a nuclear craft, infinite water. And to make sure that it is evenly distributed, we will have something like this. We also need some trash cans, as we need to void the extra sapling that we have a chance to get. So we need to void this. Like this, and Ethernet connections, we will have it on the sides. And we will have multiple channels to make all of this possible, only using one connection. Now it is me and just setting up all of the connections again on the controller. This is going to be quite fun. It's going to be quite interesting. So all of this should be ready. Hopefully. I don't know if what I'm doing is right or if it is wrong. So there are 2 things we need to do. First is give all of this power. That's the very first thing. And thanks to Draconic Evolution, from what we did in the last episode, we have wireless energy. And doing this is so comfortable. It is so comfortable, so comfy. And now we only have to give all of these machines a sapling. And hopefully everything works properly. Ah, there is it. One machine is working now. Yeah, and I even think this is more sawmills than what we actually need in order to make all of this sustainable. So maybe we could actually even add 2 more phytogenic insulators. But it's working. I am happy. And as you can see, we are doing flutes Pythogro quicker than before. I don't think this is enough still. But we are fine. We should be fine. Oh, actually, we are producing rich Pythogro quicker than what we actually can process. And that is quite interesting. That is quite nice. I'm happy. I'm happy for that. So of course, I'm adding 2 more phytogenic insulators. Of course I am. It is very much necessary in order to make all of these things interesting. And again, we are backing up this, so we can just upgrade this as well. And of course, give it 1 more augment. And of course I forgot to upgrade the machine that we actually need to upgrade, and it is this energetic infuser. And now this should go quicker, way quicker. All of this process should go really quick. It is very nice. We can add a second fluid transposer and a second energetic infuser, and this should go smooth. So before we go into upgrading our power generation, I have to first enter into some apotheosis. So let's grab a bunch of health shells. With 16, it should be enough. And let's start with apotheosis. Now this should be the maximum level we can do. Each health shelf have a encanting power of 2. Our goal right now is to encant the health shelves as much as we can. Of course, we cannot here. We have to get health infusion enchantment into this health shelf. Of course, if we don't get it, then we can just enchant another thing until we get the enchantment we want. And it's a good thing that we have 3,330 levels. So we can just do this as much as we want. Health infusion 3. That is a 2.6 encanting powder. We can grab this, replace this, and keep encanting. And you know, this is the this is actually the encanting I am looking for, capturing 5 as well. So let's get it right now. And there is it. Health infusion 10. That should be a quest. Yeah, this is a quest. Health infusion 10. Why don't I get it? I don't know. This needs health infusion 10. Health infusion 10. I mean, it's there. We have it. What I want to do is an anvil. Very quick. Ideally, we are going to get into Draconic Evolution Sword. I think that's going to be better. But for now, a Diamond Sword will do more than enough. And with this, we have a Diamond Sword with Capturing, Unbreaking, Reaper, and Tombstone Soulbound. Of course, I don't care about levels because we have 3,152 levels. We have enough to spare. Now, I want to use the Domino's special. When I mean a lot, it's a lot. 126,934 RF. That is a lot. And that's what we want. For this, we need to get a pig spawn egg, a cow spawn egg, a chicken spawn egg, and a sheep spawn egg. All of those 4 spawn eggs, we need to get them. So we will get our builder, our matter transmitter, and let's go to our RFTools dimension. As far as I'm concerned, they should spawn here. The animals. It's not going to be very common. I don't think so. Especially because there is no terrain. There is no regular terrain. But let's see if we can find some. If I cannot find some in a while, then I'll have to create another build, another dimension. As you can see, they spawn here. So we're creating another dimension. I think it's going to be simpler if we do this instead of having to find it on the array dimension that we have. So let's just throw this one here for now. And let's hope that the new dimension is flat and has some grass. Hopefully. Not what I expected. Not the spawn I expected. But this is fine. I think this is a good place to start farming some mobs. There is the spawn chicken egg. I got a sheep soul. I have a sheep in my hand. How interesting. There is the spawn cow. 1,000 mob kills. Nice. Good sacrifices. So we do have a 2% chance of getting the spawn egg. So indeed, with both the chicken and the cow, we were quite lucky. We were quite lucky to get them. But now I'm feeling the percentage. I'm feeling the low percentage. There is the sheep spawn egg. There is it. The pig spawn egg. We are ready. Well, almost ready. This is expensive. Expensive, especially in clocks. So let's start with the spawners. And the first thing we are going to do is, well, set them up and activate the redstone control. So we are not afraid of them being spawned. We want dragon eggs, so they can ignore spawn conditions. Chorus fruit will ignore the spawn cap. Nether stars will ignore the presence of players. We will go with fermented ice in order to increase the amount of spawns per each cycle. We will add a lot of sugar to all of these spawners, as well as tons and tons of clocks in order to decrease the minimum and maximum spawn rate of each spawner. And this is very, very expensive on gold. And of course, finally, we can set the spawners itself. We'll get 1 pig, 1 sheep, 1 cow, and 1 chicken. And I think if we were to activate the spawner, they spawn. And we now have animals. So we are here in the deep dark, and I'm still building this part, but we are going to be working a lot in here. I wanted this to be in the deep dark because we are going to be running a lot of entities, and for lag purposes, it is going to be better to have entities spawning in another dimension. We are going to be using these patches right here first, and we are going to start setting up the spawners. So for each patch of these places, we will have 1 monster spawner, we will have 1 mob crusher with a range add-on and a fortune add-on, and that's basically everything. This will spawn the sheep. The sheep will be crushed by this mob crusher, and we will get its loot together with some essence, and the loot will be affected by this fortune add-on. Instead of fortune, this will act like a looting. Now we are going to be using a lot EtherNet. This is going to be our basic connection, or basic connectivity kind of mod for these mob farms. So we will set connectors that will extract both the essence and the items from here, and we will store this somewhere here in this place. You know, this kind of small room above the creeper, above the main hub. So we will be using drawers in order to collect the main drops. So we want to store feathers, leather, wool, and the meats, right? Like pork chop, chicken, the mutton, and the raw beef. And then we will use a black hole tank in order to store the essence. The last thing we need to do is set up an applied energetic connection. And for that, we are going to be using Quantum Link. So this is going to cost quite a lot of RF to do all of this properly. So let's do the Quantum Ring and the Quantum Link chamber. And this is our applied energistics. And the way I'm going to set this up, I really don't know how, but yeah, I don't know how I'll do this. So here's our connection that takes all of the P2Ps. And we will set a P2P tunnel here. So we are not going to do any crafting or stuff like that. This is everything passive. So what we can do is just grab any color of cable. And this is the main spine. We are going to do a subnet here. And this subnet is going to be color blue. For this subnet, we will also need to take some energy as well. We will need a controller in order to have more than 32 channels in this, well, more than 8 channels in this subnet. And we can just start connecting everything. Of course, we want to have 2 storage buses, 1 regular and 1 fluid storage bus. This will read the essence here, and this will read the items inside these drawers. And in order to be able to see the items from our mainnet, what we can do is set up a fluid and a regular interface. And I think these ones has to be something like this. So the interface in the subnet side and the storage buses in the mainnet side. I think it was something like this. So the next thing we need to set up is the quantum chamber link. For that we need a singularity, and I'm still waiting for this. It's going to take a bit of time. Just a bit more. And soon we have our singularity. The first of many. I feel we'll be using a lot of quantum chamber. And there we have 2 quantum entangled singularities. Down here I will have all of my quantum rings, so we can put one singularity here. And we can also connect this to the other side, like this. And here in the deep dark, we can also use the second quantum entangled singularity. And the last thing we need to do is give this some power. For that I have a very quick energy accelerator and the energy cell. And now this is working, and we have channels. Now we can set a channel to this P2P tunnel. And now we have a P2P connection here. That means we have mainnet. Now we really don't need this energy acceptator, I think, but I'll keep this just in case. And we will also send some power to this. So down here we have a P2P tunnel. This one is taking energy from this wireless energy crystal. And we can just link this one to here. And now we have energy. So if we were to put a Wyvern energy crystal, this should receive energy. So we can have a wireless energy crystal. And we can link this into here. And now we have energy, like this. And we also have wireless energy here. So we can give energy to the controller and to all of our mob crushers. And as you can see, the mob crushers are working. They are working. Poor chickens. As you can see, we got chicken and feathers. And the essence here. So that is quite nice. This works perfectly fine. So the last thing we need to do is just turn on the spawners. And we can see all of our ships being processed. Now that's going to be quite a problem if they spawn above the spawner. To solve that problem, we can use vector plates. So if they were to spawn above the spawner, it will just throw them somewhere else, but not on the spawner. Like that. So yes, you can see basically they spawn, they die. This machine is so nice, the mob crusher. And it is time to start installing our new energy setup. So this is going to be quite simple. First, we will need to start producing some wet. For that we need a phytogenic insulator, a pulverizer, and a redstone furnace. The next ingredient we will require are mushrooms. For that we only need a phytogenic insulator. And finally we will need the 4 kind of meats. So pork chop, chicken, mutton, and beef. So we have the meats, we have the mushrooms, and we have the bread. Now we can craft them all into what we actually need. So the craft for the new pizza we are going to be using requires 6 inputs. We need cooked pork chop, cooked steak, cooked chicken, cooked mutton, bread, mushrooms, and with all of this we should be able to craft the Domino's special. The last thing we need to do is put a connector on our crafter, and finally we can set extract channels for the seeds machines. We are crafting the components, and we can just insert them inside the crafter. And now we are crafting pizzas. So we are not using this anymore. Goodbye Bam's Pizza. Now we can set a new frame drawer, and we can start storing our new pizza, the Domino's special. One of the things that we need to start working on is ores. We need a lot of resources. For that, of course, we are going to be using RFTools, especially the builders. These builders are quite overpowered when it comes to quarrying big zones, especially looking for ores. The problem wasn't building the builder itself, but was building the silk quarry shape card. For this, we needed dimensional shards, which we already have a way of producing them. The other problem with the silk quarry is that the quarry shape card, it required a lot of draconium. But again, we already have a way of producing it. So we can now start with a proper setup for ore generation and ore processing. Another problem with these silk quarries is that they require a lot of energy. They require more than what we can produce right now. Well, I think we can sustain them, but I don't think it's going to be sustainable for our power generation, at least at the rate we have it right now. That's why we are also going to pump lava. So we can get a builder, we can get a magmatic dynamo. This magmatic dynamo will have an isentropic reservoir, which will increase power generation and efficiency, as well as 3 augments in order to produce more generation. And for now, we can produce 840 RF per tick using this setup. And of course, also make sure you're building stuff inside chunks, not outside. So we will supply with infinite water into the magmatic dynamo. We can have another tank. So, without any more distractions, we can have another tank above the builder. And from here, I also want to extract the lava we are actually producing. So we are going to have a fluid duct with a servo inserting into the dynamo. Now we can insert the clearing pump shape card into the building. We can also configure this in order to get the maximum amount of surface that we are able to, to pump stuff. And we are also going to pump, I think, only 50 levels on the Y level. We should be able to first provide this with some energy, especially just to start up the builder. And we can use a lever and give this some redstone. And as you can see, we are producing lava, as well as burning it. So for the builder that we are going to actually use to recollect the ores from the deep dark, it's going to be under our zone that we use to produce mob resources. So we keep only this, this chunk loaded. We don't need to chunk load an extra chunk. It's not that really matters that much, but why not? You already have this. So we are going to get our builder here. On the top, another chest, and we will have a row of these resonant flute ducts in order to be able to transmit the most power that we can. And then we can just set 5 resonant magmatic dynamos per each row. It's a bit overkill, but I mean it is what we need. So from here, we are going to be using simple fluid ducts. We really don't need anything crazy. We are going to put the ender tank and activate the push mode. Now each magmatic dynamo should be filled with lava, and we should be having a lot more lava on our ender tank. Now again, we are using isentropic reservoirs augments, so we also need to provide these with some water. In this case, because there are more magmatic dynamos, we are going to be using a dense infinite water source. And now we are producing a lot of energy very quick. Yes, this is a better way of producing energy, especially at this point in the mod pack. But I still want to use pizzas. Why? Because it is, it is more fun. It is more fun than using these simple magmatic dynamos. We might have a bunch of them on the base, but this is mainly for the builders that they require a lot of energy in order to work. The only thing missing is setting up the silk quarry shape card. Yeah, I think this is perfect. I don't know how this works, but now we are recollecting ores. Very nice. Now these spawners, they do get a lot of resources. So we are going to do the same for all of the 4 kind of blazes that we can spawn. For now, we are only going to start with one of them, as I need to start producing some blazing pyrotheum in order to start with ore processing. So we are going to have a blaze spawner, on top a fast vector plate, and we should be able to activate this like this, and this should spawn. And they should start dying. So for processing, we not only need blazes, we also need basalts. We need a lot of these mobs, but at least we need from this we need much less than the blazes. So we got the spawner, vector plate, and the lever. And now we will start with the fun stuff, ore processing. But before setting up ore processing, we actually need to start producing 2 liquids, blazing pyrotheum and tectonic petrotheum. So let's start with blazing pyrotheum. For this we need a pulverizer. In this pulverizer we will be exporting blaze rods, and these blaze rods will be processed into blaze powder. We also get a sulfur byproduct. Right now I don't think we need to store this, so we can just trash this. The blaze powder, we are going to store it in a drawer. This has a storage downgrade and a diamond storage upgrade, so we can store up to 16 stacks of blaze powder. For now it's going to be more than enough. We only want a small buffer for this. Then we also need a crafter. This crafter will store the pyrotheum recipe. For this we also need to give redstone and sulfur into this machine. And this should start crafting pyrotheum dust. For now it's quite slow, but we really don't need that much speed. Now I personally really don't know other way of transporting this from the crafter, so we can just use a servo and some item ducts, and we can store them in a drawer. Again, this has a downgrade and a storage upgrade, so we can store up to 4 stacks of pyrotheum. For petrotheum is almost the same. We want a pulverizer, from which we will be importing the basalt rods, which will give us basalt power as well as pulverized obsidian. The pulverized obsidian we can just discard it for now, and differently from the other, this one we can just send it directly into the crafter. We really don't need to buffer the basalt powder, as there is no other use other than crafting this spawn eggs. For blaze powder, we have a lot of uses. So again, we can teach this crafter with the recipe for petrotheum dust, and we can give this power. And if I done everything correctly, we should also be able to see this in our main system. There is 4 stacks of pyrotheum and 4 stacks of petrotheum, and we can also see the blaze powder here. We can use magma crucibles in order to transform these dusts into the liquids. Finally, we only need to give all of this machine power, and we should start to see some liquid tectonic petrotheum and blazing pyrotheum here. And with that we have our liquids ready to use in our ore processing area. Now I forgot that we need to also produce 2 more resources. The first one, very simple. We need sand. For this we need an infinite water source, an extruder below, a bucket of lava, and some energy. And we can store this in a drawer. The next one is a bit more involved, and we need to start producing some cinnabar. And for that, we are going to be using poppies. So for this, we will need a water source. And we need the water source because we need 3 phytogenic insolators. Now, something I've completely forgot is that we need to give this some of these flutes phytogrow. So we can simply do an Ethernet connection here. And here in our flutes channel, we can copy this connector and we can paste this into the new poppy connectors. Now we can give this a poppy, and slowly but steady we will be producing poppies. Now here comes the part that is a bit more involved. We will need 2 rows of pulverizers, chemical dissolvers, and finally chemical combiners. Both poppies will be inputted into these pulverizers. Once we give this energy, we'll pulverize the poppies into red dye, so rose red. This one we can directly output it into the chemical dissolvers on this side. We can give power to this as well, which will give us mercury sulfide. It's important, we have to make sure that we are locking the receipt on the chemical combiner for cinnabar. And now what we can do is simply get some item ducts and start pulling the mercury sulfide into the chemical combiners. And once we give this energy as well, we will be producing cinnabar. We can just store the cinnabar into a drawer. This, just as the powders, we will be storing 4 stacks of cinnabar. The only use that we will give to the cinnabar is for ore processing, so there is really no need to have a lot of them. Now, last but not least, setting up the machines that are actually going to process our ores. We will be using 4 pulverizers, which will have the petroleum inside, 4 induction smelters, which will have the blazing pyrotheum, and these ones will be using cinnabar as the catalyst. We will have 3 induction smelters, which will be using rich slag as a catalyst, and the final induction smelter, which will be using sand. Now we really don't need ender tanks, as we are just producing these liquids just here on this side. But just to keep it clean, you're going to be using ender tanks for the connections. And now is it going to be just me and doing all of the logistics using Ethernet. So I spent like maybe 10 minutes setting up all of this, and I hope everything is fine. I hope all of this will properly work. So let's give all of these machines some power. We are going to put a lot of pressure to our energy production, but we should be able to grab our ender chest. We can come here, put the ender chest on this side, a connector, let's call these ores, and here is it. And we can only create a channel and extract. We can do stacks and 5 ticks. Hopefully everything is working. Of course, this doesn't have any power. So we can give the controller power, and this should be extracting. And machines should be working. Yes, we are seeing blazing pyrotheum, we are seeing rich slag, and we are seeing ores being processed. So I'm recording this part after I actually finished with everything. The video is almost finished editing, and there was some problems with ore processing. First, I really don't have that much experience with Ethernet, and I don't know if I'm doing things good or bad. My idea was to have 4 machines that will be using cinnabar, 3 that will be using rich slag, which would be byproduct of these machines that uses cinnabar, and 1 using sand, which is basically for redstone. The problem with that is that I don't know why, but whenever it was either all of these machines would get rich lag, or they would be getting this Cinnabar, not as I was expecting. So at the end I just changed everything, and everything is using Cinnabar. And it really doesn't matter because we are producing enough of everything in order to use Cinnabar for all of the processes. This one will still be using sand because redstone is best. There is a better ratio using sand. If we were to use Cinnabar, we get the ingots, and basically one ingot is one redstone dust, and we don't want that. Another problem, and this was very weird for me, I had a drawer and a trash can here. The drawer was storing the rich slag, and the trash can I was trashing everything that I didn't wanted. In our case, these five things. So the rich slag, arcan crystal, xenor, runestone, and darkstone. However, it seems that while everything was processing, I was also trashing a lot of the ores, but a lot of them. If we take a look very quick here, platinum, we only have 324. Well, only that's a lot of platinum. By the time that I was already processing a lot of nickel in the induction smelters, I started it with 30 and something platinum, and I kept only 30 and something platinum. So I wasn't producing any platinum, even though I was smelting a lot of nickel, which gives platinum as a byproduct. And the problem is that I don't know why, but the filters here are either buggy or I am doing stuff wrong. And I was voiding a lot of resources. Now everything fits. Now I am just storing everything in drives here. As you can see, we are almost about to fill the second storage cells, so I do need bigger storage cells for this. And we are just directly voiding the arcan crystal ore, xenor, runestone, rich slag, and darkstone from here into the trash can. And if we take a look, we have 4,000 and something of lapis lazuli. It had almost 900 diamonds. We have 10k copper, we have 6k gold, we have 5k lithium, almost 10k nickel, 300 and something of platinum, we have 6,000 of silver, almost 10,000 of tin. So yeah, pretty much everything is nice. It's very nice. Just look at that. It's 39,000 iron. It's 39,000. It's just too much. It's too much iron. But yeah, everything is just working nice, and this is perfect. This is very much perfect. With our processing here in the back, I think it is time to finish this episode. We've done a lot of things, very important things that we needed to do. Not only upgrading our energy, but also doing some ore processing and some mob farms, as well as placing pyrotheum and the tectonic petrotheum. So it's quite nice, as well as improving Flut's Pitogro. It was quite a nice week. And the next episode will be almost the same. We'll have a lot of more of upgrades around the base, but this time will be more focused around producing new molds. Rather than producing new molds, producing molds in general, because we are quite near to the end. We are quite near to the end game, and we need to start preparing for it. So as always, if you're still here, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a better day, because it can always be better. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.